Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Different Gaming News. What's on the news today? Call of Duty is now owned by Microsoft. Xbox has officially finished its purchase of Activision Blizzard King, and it has now taken ownership of many new games to add to its catalog. $69 billion is what it's costed, and I got a feeling we're going to see Game Pass go up due to this. Now, the purchase is acquiring some of the biggest games in gaming, period. I mean, World of Warcraft, it ain't what it used to be, but it still kicks a lot of butt. They've got Call of Duty, Diablo, Hearthstone, Overwatch, Candy Crush, Crash Bandicoot, Sekiro. If you haven't played it, you must. It is fantastic. This has been a long journey. It's been a couple years since this was first announced. Microsoft has had many trials and tribulations trying to get this thing finalized. The purchase was met with a lot of skepticism when it was first announced. EU specifically had some of the hardest times. The FTC was in a lawsuit and has to try to prevent it, and they're also trying to bring back that suit to, and I'm not sure how exactly it all it's going to work, but they're trying to bring back this suit for some reason, and it doesn't make sense because, well, I mean, the purchase is done. I mean, what are they going to do? So you got to break up. So normally I would say, let's go to Pat, let's go to Nick, but guess what? You get me today. So lucky you. So let's kind of run through a little bit of what I think may not happen, some of the games that they're going to acquire, and things like that real quick. So right off the bat, Game Pass will not be getting Call of Duty or any of the big wigs right now, Diablo. But it is rumored to be, or at least talked about to be, possibly 2024, we will start seeing some of these games come to Game Pass, which, you know, Game Pass is a great subscription service. I really like it. So do the guys. And I think every game, you know, that they have is just a bonus, even if it's games that I don't like. So now that the purchase is done, we're going to have on Game Pass at some point many games, but not for a bit. But what you can do is you could purchase these games still, and it goes to Microsoft now. But the big problem with this is Bobby Kotick is still going to remain on as CEO through the end of 2023. He should have been shit canned from the very beginning. He's a terrible person, and he's a terrible leader, and he's just a terrible human being. So I won't go into a whole bunch of detail of how bad he is, because we all know. Now, let's jump into some of the games real quick. So they're going to get a established Sony game, Crash Bandicoot. They're going to get this whole series. Now, when I think of Crash Bandicoot, I think PlayStation. Plain and simple. There's just no reason not to think of Crash when you think of Sony. You don't think of Crash. It is a staple of the original PlayStation. You can even play it on the last Uncharted game, where you could play a original PlayStation and some Crash Bandicoot into it. So that one's kind of an interesting one, because there's a lot of fanboys on either end who are loving and hating this part of it. Some are rubbing it in the face, putting salt in the wound. Ha ha! Microsoft owns it now. This could be one of those franchises. If they do anything else, they could make multi-platform. I think Crash would be a sad thing to see it stuck on one platform. I think seeing it on Nintendo, PlayStation would be a really good idea. But that's just me. They're also getting the Tony Hawk franchise, which Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster came out not too long back, and it was really good if you like the series. Biggest problem was I think it was limited in too many ways, in some ways. But it's still a big franchise. I don't think we'll ever see another one anytime soon, if at all, because I'm not sure it's sold that well. But it's still a fun series, so you gotta love it. Spyro, again, a PlayStation game. I mean, that's a PlayStation game. Spyro has always been a PlayStation game to me. And it's going to be weird if it's just on the Xbox now. It'd be good for Xbox gamers, if you only got an Xbox, but I don't think it'll happen that way. I really don't. I think, there's some games that Microsoft is going to just put out on the table for the other console makers, and it makes financial sense because $70 billion almost is nuts. Just the tip alone on that dinner tab is going to be a lot. And then you're going to have games like King's Quest. Let's go to the King games, the mobile stuff. I mean, Microsoft is going to do something with it. We know all this mobile stuff is big. I hate mobile. Pat hates mobile. Nick, he's a little more lenient on it than us. But the games that come to mobile, like Candy Crush, for example, are fun pooping games. So will we actually see a version come to consoles? Will we see some of these mobile games come to Xbox, console, Game Pass on PC? I don't think we'll see any limits on those. I think you're going to see that on every phone still. You're going to see it on every optimal way to play it. They're going to put it out there. I think you'll see them on Switch, definitely, because those would be perfect Switch games. So now let's talk about the Activision there, the big boy, World of Warcraft. And I'm not a big World of Warcraft guy because I just cannot stand paying a monthly fee after I paid for a damn game. But I bet we see a World of Warcraft come to the Xbox at some point. May not be the traditional game, optimized for console, but I think we'll see it. Game Pass, maybe. I'm not sure where they're at on their sales and their monthly player counts, but there's a chance. I mean, Microsoft owns them now, and they definitely want to pump up those Game Pass numbers because they've said if we don't hit so many by set time frames, they're going to have to look at staying in the business, whatnot, blah blah blah. So that'd be kind of neat to see that come, and then maybe I could get into World of Warcraft. I don't mind paying $10 to $15 a month for my subscription service. I just don't want to pay for one game. Overwatch, who really gives a crap anymore about that game? I just don't. But, the big boy of the room and the one that really started most of the concerns for this purchase was Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a massive, massive, massive franchise. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Call of Duty 3 is coming out here soon. I don't know if the purchase from Microsoft will affect the sales of 3 because you have a lot of people that are just, very diehard PlayStation, fanboys. You have Xbox fanboys who are going to be like, oh my God, I'm just going to wait for it to come out on Game Pass. And PlayStation's going to be like, well, I'm not going to play it because Microsoft owns it now, which I think is silly, but hey, it's to each his own. I really don't know why Call of Duty is that big of a deal because Microsoft has said at the beginning that it wasn't going to make it console exclusive. At least for the first 10 years, they were throwing out contracts, things like that. And Sony was lying and denying the whole thing for a long time, and then they finally accepted the contract. So hopefully Microsoft for PlayStation gamers and all gamers, even Nintendo is supposed to be getting it. Hopefully Microsoft will, put out good ones, but spread them out a little bit. I think Pat and Nick would agree the Call of Duty train needs to slow down a little bit, maybe make a few stops and let some passengers off and whatnot before they start picking them up. The whole purchase of Activision Blizzard King has been just a hell of a ride for a lot of people because I personally like the idea of Microsoft having a larger first party studio setup. Now, whether or not they're any good, Redfall, we'll find out. But my biggest want from this is to let these developers that make all these games like Sekiro, Call of Duty, Call of Duty has 4 different developers. Let them make some new games too. Let them try their hand at something else. If you've got Team A making Call of Duty 55, and then let the other teams make something new, try something different. That's what has kept Sony kicking the crap out of Microsoft. Is they do try new things. They do the new IPs they put out. 90% of the time have been fantastic. That's the new IPs, let alone their sequels to existing. So I would like to see that myself. Now, if any of these games come to Game Pass, if any of the newly owned games, as far as the classics and things like that, are able to come to Game Pass sooner, that to me would be great. Prototype was developed there at Activision, and it was a fantastic series. I thought I would love to see that come to Game Pass. Skylanders is one I don't care for. I don't know if anybody would ever play it because I don't think anybody's got the crap anymore. But there is a lot of classic Activision Blizzard titles that need to come out to Game Pass that they could easily put out the older Call of Duty games on Game Pass. Let us have them. I love the Call of Duty games far as the stories go, but I'm not a huge fan of the multiplayer as I used to be. That kind of lost me after the OG Modern Warfare 2. Because then it just started getting flying and kicking and ninjaing across screens. That's just not for me. But it's going to be interesting to see what Microsoft does with it. Are they going to piss this opportunity away, where they have all these new games to choose from, these new developers they own? How are they going to handle it? Are they going to let them do what they do? Are they going to stay too far back and let them do whatever they want? Are they going to handhold them just a little bit? Because so far it's Redfall was a big disappointment. It was a big technical disappointment. The game was just an overall disappointment, just in terms of fun. Only fun we had out of it was as a group. So as long as Microsoft can control what they put out better, manage without over managing, I think this will be a good purchase for them. I think it'll be a good thing for Xbox gamers. I own all the systems. I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to play what I want to play no matter what. Just me. I'm a gamer. So is the other guys. So, but that is pretty much all I've got for this. I just wanted to spit that out there, let you know the deal is done, and see what you guys think. Do you think this is going to work out well for Microsoft? Do you think they're just going to piss this opportunity away, which they've been known to do? So, yay. I'm hoping for the best. I'm going to root for the best, but I will expect the worst, unfortunately. So, but let us know what you think. Also, make sure you hit subscribe, hit those notifications, tell your friends, give us your feedback. That's my favorite thing, is reading comments. I love to read the comments, positive or negative, but I really prefer positive because it's funner that way. But until next time, see ya.